I'd like to call to order the February 10th meeting. Please rise for the pledge and prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask that you be with us tonight as we do the business for the village of Elsie. And we do it to the best of our ability and to your glory and honor. We ask this in your Son's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any corrections, additions, or deletions to the agenda? I have a couple. Under special reports, I want to switch number 4 to number 1. The gentleman was actually able to make it a little early, so we'll slide him up to number 1. Number 4 will slide down, or number 1 will slide down to number 4. Then under president, number 2, library, contract and services. That's all I got. Anybody else?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with amendments.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Presentation of the,
Approval of the minutes.
that's where I was headed.
You said presentation
Well,
of
I
the
was
minutes.
headed.
Sorry. Easy.
Please don't make it quick. Need a motion to approve the January 13 minutes.
Uh-oh.
Got down on the first page, where you're bottom, it says zoning committee has started working, should say the ordinance committee.
Oh. Did I?
I mean, that's just a mistake. It's fine. A little mistake.
Okay.
I'll motion to approve the minutes with correction. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Small crowd, I was trying to rush this along, man.
Motion carried. Have a presentation of the bills
On cue, sir.
on cue. Bills came out to a total $31,080.47. Any questions on any of the bills that we did have?
Can we try to knock those down a little bit, make them a little cheaper?
We're working on it.
We're trying.
Can
One
we,
question, do we have coverage for the police car windshield, or I see you paid for it? I paid for it, I didn't wanna put it on our MML insurance, I figured we have enough stuff going on with MML, I didn't want that on.
well, the windshield's actually cheap than they were.
And plus the deductible, yeah.
What did you do right there?
Probably 100%.
Got your rod or something?
So that's the ACHs as well then? Okay. So Kelsey just pointed out, actually, the bills with additional ACHs that were done is a total of $39,093.41. That paper checks ran was $31,080.47. Good call. Thank you.
I'll motion to pay the bills in the amount of $39,093.41.
Support.
Motion's been made and seconded to pay the bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Special reports, financial audit overview and introduction. Mr. Brent Ranch.
Yes, well, thank you. Taking the time, I usually come to these things, and even when I actually have a financial to present, I try not to take too much of your time, so I certainly won't. My name's Brent, I'm a partner with BHM. So our office in Michigan is actually about an hour and a half south of here, just on the other side of Jackson. Our firm has been doing a lot of local unit audits since about 1978 in the state of Michigan. We do a lot in almost all the townships and small villages in Lenawee County, and then north around Ann Arbor and Washtenaw. And then here and over in Columbus Township over north of Detroit are kind of a couple of the furthest away. But I know a lot of communities like this, actually, my office is in Morenci, so if you're familiar, it's probably about the size of town here. So, we focus on a lot of the rural and smaller villages and towns. We don't do any of the big metropolitan areas or anything like that. We did do your audit, 2 years ago now. So, we tried to, offer, a full breadth of CPA services. I did, when I did the audit last time, it was just myself as a sole practitioner. At the beginning of the year, we did merge with another firm. There was a number of reasons behind that. Really, a lot of it was my own succession planning, and just making sure that if something were to happen to me, we have, a full group of other accountants and CPAs behind me that do it. So we, now as part of the Bear Group, Ohio is a little different. They don't, all the auditors that do all the local units in Ohio are state employees, but we do a lot of audits in West Virginia, Kentucky, and across the state here. So, they all offer the same services and everything, which is why I see on the proposal that I sent in, BHM. So, Destiny asked me to come up and just introduce myself. Does anybody have any questions or anything they?
No, I just want to thank you for doing a double year contract with us. I think that's great.
Yeah, I know nobody likes the biannuals, to be 1,000% honest with you. I know talking to a lot of other smaller, more rural townships and things. I know I was at one down by MIS last week, and they said they sent out 12 bids for requests and got one back. So they're just, the state calls our office and says, how many more can you do? So, I can't do that many more, but, more than happy to, especially when we have a number that are on the opposite years. So it kind of works that we have, 10 or 12 that we do on evens and 10 or 12 we do on the odds, and all the rest are annuals. So it actually, makes it harder for us to do the odds or the every others than it is to do one every single year, because when you do every other year, you have to audit the off year too. So you do twice as much just every other year instead of doing annual.
Any questions for Mr. Shea?
No, I was just gonna comment, I thought we had paid significantly more for that in the past for our annual.
We did.
That's what I thought. So,
And Brent was actually, when we, Steve Adair actually was in charge of the bid process. We had 5 firms that actually put in bids to do our financial audit, and they couldn't touch what Brent was willing to do. And obviously we had him last year, so he's familiar with the village of Elsie, our situation. Everybody else, I think the lowest bid we received was $21,000. I don't think we need to do that here in the village of Elsie.
Yeah, if you guys are a public company, that's probably about what we would bid. Usually when we bid public work, the correlation with government work is usually about 60 cents on the dollar compared to what we do normal businesses for.
I thought we were an exceptional quote, so thank you.
Yes, very much appreciated.
Certainly. Well, like I said, we work with a lot of other rural, smaller towns. I know what the tax rolls look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions, anything?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
Right.
well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got a couple months before the end of your fiscal year, so we'll see you after tax season, I suppose.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brent.
All right,
Thank
sir, thank you very much.
Thanks for making the drive. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
absolutely. I will excuse myself, but I guess have a
Yeah.
nice evening.
You as well too, thanks for coming in. LEAP and MEDC will be here probably another 10 minutes or so, so we're gonna move on to number 3.
I really appreciate him being here, but I feel super bad that it was seriously like 5 minutes.
Guess you should have came up with some questions.
Yeah. I mean, we had already kind of
Yeah,
talked about it a
I
little
mean,
bit.
and not only that, but look at the money he's saving the
Right,
village.
no,
for
I just,
drive an hour and a half for 5 minutes.
maybe we can figure something out in the future for some sort of maybe Zoom call or something for such
Sure.
an occasion.
Well, I thought that we could actually have somebody, instead of the village manager accepting
No,
the
I-
financial bid, like has
agree.
been done in the past. I wanted total transparency. I want you to meet the auditor.
And I 1000% appreciate that and agree with that. I just,
Oh, okay.
in such a situation, maybe to make it easier on the
Yeah.
people involved, maybe we could try to figure out some sort of
Yeah.
Zoom thing or
Zoom or
something.
Teams or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can do that.
First time's a charm.
Park update with Mr. Ed White.
No real updates other than I did, as stated, look at some routes for nature trails through there. There's some really nice spots that should give about 1.5 miles of trails through there, and that goes clear to the north end of the septic ponds through the woods, without getting too close to any village-owned buildings, still keeping it in the woods.
Sweet. That would be sweet.
Can't wait. Where they'll start, would they start right where the fence is, or?
The plan, as I'm kind of looking at it, would be to have parking by the leaf drop-off. And I want to talk with Chris about redoing some things back there to make the leaf drop-off a little more friendly, because right now it's blocked out to the road. People are driving over the grass. But to follow around to where the property line cuts off, right there would make an amazing sledding hill. Just have to clear out a couple of, underbrush trees, nothing major. But way better than the pile of dirt that's at the park, which I thought at that time could be used to fill in the swamp at the park every spring. Push the water out of there.
A lot of that back by the leaf, I think, is, as far as the trails and stuff, is people being lazy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wanting to turn around.
I'd honestly like to see a turnaround.
Yeah.
A full-on
Kinda
cut
what I
through turnaround. Because honestly, I use my side-by-side and I take my little trailer and I just loop through.
That's what I do with my golf
I
cart.
back all the way up to the back piles when I came.
There's a way we
Can.
can do it. Now that you had that little bobcat machine, Chris could probably head back there for a couple hours and just roll the pile over so they have.
And I'll tell you,
Yes,
that
sir.
pile of dirt has a little bit of asphalt mixed in it and it actually packs really well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, this is just kind of tentative ideas I've had.
sure.
So
Nice. No,
sledding
I think
hill
it's
would be
great.
awesome. Then the trail goes along the river, then cuts back, kind of just one big loop. So nobody should get lost. But there would be minimal work to be done other than maybe some signage. And I know last month somebody mentioned, I think it might have been Sam or Mark, about grooming the trails. I think once people get back, it'll be like Sleepy Hollow. There won't be grooming necessary. It'll just kind of take care of itself. There's a lot of trees and logs that I think wash up from when the river floods. And Chris did tell me that floods back there often. Some of those would need to be cleared out, which isn't a big deal. I've also reached out to the regional director of Department of Agriculture to get the wetlands and feasibility stuff or whatever, just so we don't try to do anything where we would get in trouble. Because there is a whole spot back there, the swamp, that I would avoid, but it is all a flood-prone area per the maps. He's gonna get me exact data, so we can avoid any complications
Does
with
it
the
still
DNR.
flood with the dam being broke?
I don't know.
We'll know this year.
I think I think we'll find out this spring.
I'll be surprised if it floods.
I would too, because it doesn't seem like it.
I know the higher part back there last year
That is.
was still kind of wet. On that drive that's already there that goes down by the river.
Yeah, where it
It still got pretty wet back there last year. I don't necessarily know if that's from flooding or just from seasonal aspect, but that's where the ruts come from. Those weren't there before last year.
Right.
Now it's all running to crap from the side-by-sides and the quads running through there, which is another thing I think we need to do is, as far as a side-by-side or quad, anything with that type of power should not be driving back there tearing everything up, which is another challenge we're gonna have with.
Yeah, you're gonna face backlash from a lot of the community, I think, on that. Even though they're not supposed to be back there, they're gonna be mad that they can't be back there, but, maybe that's as simple as getting some.
Have you been to any of the other meetings here in the last few months?
I've been to all of them.
He's been to all of them.
I thought this would be more tame, so I'm sure.
Appreciate that. Grab your pitchforks.
Maybe we could drop some 1x3 crushed concrete back there to just help with all the potholes.
So that leads me to, we have our park committee, right? And I feel that we should start involving citizens into some of our committees. A lot of other municipalities do it. I think it would be a great idea to add Ed White to our park committee. So he does a lot for the park, and I think he has a lot of good insight.
We need a motion on that? I'll make the motion.
I'll support that 100%.
Motion has been made and seconded to make Mr. Ed White.
If
part
you'll
of
have it.
our Parks
Better go
Committee.
get your pitchfork now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
On that note, I've also started looking into just feeling out contractors and that sort of thing for like repairing the asphalt path, which is not cheap. You know, fence repairs and that sort of thing, but nothing too major except for the pathway, but things that hopefully now as a member of the committee, I would be a little more positioned to try to get some grants or reach out to not state entities, government entities for grants, but like Play School does playground equipment grants, and they'll help you find the money just so they can get the business, put the stuff in.
Didn't somebody mention something about a fence grant in the last couple of meetings?
Yeah, the Little League.
Yeah. He mentioned that. There's also a company called Silver Lining. They do ground up tires. And they do a lot of donations with that. They'll come and just dump a dumpster or a dump truck full.
Some of them
So-
rocks by the place that are kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Chris would probably love to see those go too.
Yeah. So maybe that's something we could reach out to. I'll look into that.
And also, when we start discussing the budget further, Steve Adair and I had our first budget conversation, and we do have money in our Act 51. We have to spend a percentage of that money within 10 years. We're getting to that mark where we need to spend some of that money with our local and major roads. And we can spend some of that money at the park. So I was thinking, everybody uses that trail at the park to walk. And all it's gonna take is somebody to fall. We need to, if we can put a little bit of money, Yeah.
That's it.
repave that.
It is.
And then that way we could, have the equipment finally to plow it. So
Do you have a number on how much we need to spend?
I don't, I was just informed it was about 10%.
Okay.
So, and I will probably have that number by Friday. That's our next budget committee meeting. or budget
Did you say
meeting.
you already had some quotes, or you're working on getting some?
I don't know.
What are you
It's
looking
not
at in
that
price
big.
range?
It just needs to be fixed.
Do an 1.5 cap, grind it off all the high spots, tree roots and everything. It was $43,000 to $48,000 for a complete ground replacement was about $60,000. And that's for 5/8 of a mile, basically 1 kilometer loop, despite what everybody wants to argue with online. It's
They know
basically,
more than you do.
I'm sure they do.
It's on the internet, it's gotta be true.
It's 1 kilometer, that whole length is.
Yeah.
We don't like metric system, 5/8 of a mile.
It's 5/8 of a mile for me then.
Yeah, but if we could cap it, and it lasts even 10 years.
I think you could grind and cap that, because I think it's got a good bed under it.
I would think it
I mean,
does.
it's been there for, how long's it been there, 30 years?
I've been here 15, it's been here long, but
I think it's been there since I was a kid.
Did they have asphalt back then?
They did.
Was there horse and buggies still using it, or?
I used to live there when I was 8, so that's 50 years ago.
you saw right for the snow and the process.
Yeah.
That's why it's so
Smart.
small.
That's what gotta do.
Well, thank you, Ed.
Hey,
All right.
welcome to the committee.
Thanks, Ed.
Clinton County Commissioner Nicole Ficus with a county update.
All right, hi, everybody. First of all, you inspired the listening session of the NEDC down in Ovid. We had that earlier today, and so thank you for that. Yours was great. Just a few updates. We did update the website. If you do visit the county website, there were some new ADA standards put forth, accessibility guidelines, so everything has to be able to read things back to you. There's certain color schemes, and so things look different. There's a lot of documents that aren't like on the forefront that used to be. They're all still there, they're just in the archive. We approved an application for a special land use in Ovid Township, just south of here on Meridian Road. It's a home-based business to repair farm equipment and heavy equipment, as well as automotive, and so that'll be kicking off soon. That's a definite need in the community. I would say that the most significant thing that's happened in the past month or so has been a discussion around planning and zoning. And even though that you folks do your own, everything impacts everyone. You're surrounded by a township that is a general law township that relies on county planning and zoning, and everybody relies on the building department. And I'm not sure if you recall, but those used to be one department overseen by a department head, and they've split those up. And since then, we've had a lot of things. We've had a lot of turnover. We've had, inconsistency in messaging, whether we're gonna wanna keep this department or not. And so we brought everybody together to have a real conversation. And we had every single general law township there. We had townships that do their own zoning. We had charter townships, and everyone was given the time to speak and say what you think about planning and zoning. And it was 100% unanimous to keep it at the county level, and it made sense to everybody. And down south, they didn't care whatever the money had to be put in. They felt there was a value in us all being congruent and consistent. And you all know this as well as I do. There's 3 different buckets with respect to planning and zoning. You've got people who are trying to do something, whether they're putting an addition on their home or a garage, or it's a company trying to do something. You've got something trying to happen. You have a department or some people that have to look at what our ordinances say. Is this something that we can do or not, or how could you do it? And then you've got the decision-making body. And at the county, it's a bigger operation. And I will say, some questions that came about that could influence you or be something that, it pertains to you is, the question came about, could the county's liability insurance be used in local government? Meaning, does our county blanket, could it cover you all and some of the other townships? Could we work together to sort of leverage the high costs and bring those down? Secondly, people want to know, why is planning and zoning such a target? Why are we such focused on that? Is it the solar farms? What's going on? People want to know why there's so much turnover in the department. We've gone through 4 department heads in 3 years. We've split the department up. We've changed the whole structure and done all this stuff. And people want it to go back to what it was. And so I really feel like there's a clean slate here for us to define how to move forward with respect to this. You all have infrastructure in a rural region that no one else has. And so we've got broadband that's been installed, and people are coming. People want to live here. And I just, I value your input. I know this doesn't exactly pertain to you, but as far as how you do business, we should work together, because our communities don't end at our borders. The village, the community here doesn't end at the border of the village. And so we're going to try to work together to define things as a group. Some of the charter townships brought forth a few things that they're concerned with that, we didn't know about. The cost of ambulance. They are struggling with the cost of ambulance just like everybody else, and they want to know, how can we work together to try to address this in a broader scale, as well as the cost of technology, information technology, and everything goes to the cloud, and we all have all these software subscriptions that we're now having to incur on top of the high cost and inflation. Every single thing we do, you have your own police force here, and you run all your own stuff, and so I think I'd like to continue that conversation and collaboration from how can we work together and contain these costs. Aside from that, we set the calendar. The 4-H Fairgrounds Steering Committee is starting to meet, and we're going to be putting together a master plan to update the fairgrounds. They met once. Their second meeting is on the 26th of February at 6 p.m. at the county. Other than that, we have our Ways and Means meeting on the 19th. At 9 a.m. at the county courthouse, as well as Board of Commissioners meeting on the 24th, and a broadband task force on the 23rd. Have questions?
I do have a question for you as far as the ambulance goes.
Yeah.
A lot of big moves going there with Clinton area.
Yep.
Actually, they're in a meeting right now. They're talking about going up to $22 per capita.
Yep.
I'll know the answer to that here in about an hour, probably. Is there any source of county income towards that company to help keep it afloat?
Meaning, is there an opportunity for the county to help support that operation?
Yes.
That conversation has not been had, but I will tell you, I think the conversation of countywide ambulance is a topic, and people always say we need to go regionally. I talked to Lynn Weber, the director of Clinton Ambulance, for those of you that don't know, last week or the week before, about how can we increase the revenue of an ambulatory service. And, you know, you've got your paramedics and your EMTs, they are medical service providers. And at the last health department meeting, I talked to the health director, and she did state that there are things that can be done from you're familiar with the community paramedicine program.
Right.
That's sort of being started. There are opportunities to partner what the health department is statutorily has to do, as well as social services and things like that, where we can start grouping more of a rural healthcare aspect around ambulatory service. And I think if we can start folding those together and working those together, we can pull in some funds. I think going to the county and saying, hey, we want you to help us with ambulance, is going to give one particular board member a heart attack. But it's a discussion that's broad and it needs to happen.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, and that's it. I mean, it's the cost of services.
Well, and that's the issue. MMR,
EMTs,
I think it was MMR that came into the south side?
No, it's Eaton.
Eaton.
Sparrow
That's what it
U
was,
of
Eaton.
yeah.
They are, now, everybody understands the concept of undercutting. They went far beyond undercutting. Like, they're charging $3 per capita to the south end. Now, there's a lot of talk that that's not gonna fly. They're gonna have to bump that up quite a bit. But they're subsidized through U of M Sparrow. So they have U of M money to pay for it. I think it's just a matter of time before somebody looks back at the books and goes, this isn't efficient, we have to do something. So either they're gonna raise those rates or they're gonna cut the whole situation.
Yeah.
But I would say 99% of the issue with Clinton area right now is because U of M took over Sparrow. And now they're told that they are to call Eaton first for any transfers. So now Clinton area ambulance is getting next to no transfers from the hospitals, which is a huge portion of their funding and their income. So how do you, if you're taking, even if it's a third of the income and you eliminate that, how do you stay afloat? You know, you just can't.
You can.
So that's why they're talking about raising the per capita to $22. And that is tough for the people that have, or for the townships that have millages, especially that already have them in place. Duplain Township, for example, which we are all a part of, has a millage, and the way they go about it, it's a 4-year millage, I believe, am I correct?
Mostly.
Yeah. 4-year millage. So the first 2 years, they understand that they're gonna bring in too much money. But the second 2 years, they understand they're gonna bring in not enough money.
Right.
So the money from the first is to cover the second, and it just barely scrapes by. And that goes to the ambulance service and to the fire department. Now, what happens when you start raising the per capita in the middle of that millage, now those numbers go right out the window and you don't have enough money. And I believe there's 5 different entities on that board that have millages. Something that Fowler is doing that I think is becoming very popular is, I forget the name of it, but it's a needs assessment, I think is what it's called. Is that something like?
Like a special assessment?
Special assessment,
Yep.
that's what it is.
That's another way of handling it.
And that seems to be very successful to them, and I think moving forward, that might be an option for a lot of the townships, but as far as subsidizing Clinton area, it's really a plus. They're not doing good right now. I'm not sure that it'll pull through.
You gotta stop the bleeding to be able to keep the doors open.
There-
And
The call volume's down for one. Transfers are obviously way down. So, which call volume from a human standpoint is good. From a business standpoint, an ambulance business standpoint, not so good.
Right.
And then when you add on top of that Medicaid and Medicare only paying 20% of what is charged, it doesn't take long to average.
well, I ran the numbers in 23 when Victor Township was looking at this, and I remember, those transfers are the bulk of the calls. At that time, you were running 6,000 plus runs.
Correct.
4,000 of them were transfers. Those pay well. Your runs out to the general public, they a lot of them don't pay at all. And you're losing money on every run. And I think the corporatization of healthcare is a big discussion that's happening here in the state of Michigan. There's a law that says non-medical personnel can dictate medical care, and we're kind of pushing the edges of that with the way things are handled. And I've been getting a lot of feedback that Sparrow ER's been overloaded since that outfit took place. I can't, this is what I hear in the community, but I feel like there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of community pressure with respect to that situation and that change, and so I think there's a lot of people, I personally am working to help.
And I think if you just listen to the community, they would much rather have Clinton area here than anybody else. I mean,
For sure. Well, this is the first year of the millage, isn't it? Didn't the millage?
second year, I believe.
Is it the
Second year of the millage. Yep. But Ovid's got the same thing. Ovid's got a millage. I believe Bengal has a millage.
Yeah, and then Maple's part of that, ain't they?
What?
Of the Clinton area.
Yeah, I believe Maple has a millage also. Yeah, they're part of Clinton area, but it's just, I know if we want to keep that ambulance service, something's got to be done. I mean, they're going as far as asking for donations to make it to the end of the fiscal year.
If they have a fundraiser, let me know.
Thank you.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Anybody have any more questions for Nicole?
Thank you, man.
Good timing. LEAP and MEDC update with Devin and Rachel.
Of course. You want me to say that? Sure. So with the Elsie School redevelopment building, I just wanted to clear some minds with that. We've seen a Facebook post stating that it's been suspended indefinitely. LEAP has been the facilitator of meetings. We're not the fiduciary of money at all, but this project has not been approved or denied. It is simply still in the waiting list. If Rachel here
Yeah, you can turn over, for sure. So first, let's just acknowledge Ken's frustration because it's valid and real, right? And he is not the reason we're in the position that we're in right now. The fiscal budget is the reason why we're in the position that we're in right now. And so just to kind of put it in perspective, so last year we were working with about $70 million for the program that Ken is trying to work through to receive funding, and that was cut by 90%. And we have demand throughout the state, right? And so we are taking a slow approach and a slow road to ensure that we're spending those dollars wisely across all of our communities throughout the state. I just wanted to reiterate, this is a massive priority project. We're not giving up. Again, it's not been a no. We're still working on it. We're just slowly moving through our budget this year to see what we can fund. And so another perspective as well. So I represent a 3-county region for the funding, and so it's my job to manage the projects within that. Right now, I have $17 million in request for this fiscal that are competing with Ken, if that, just to kind of level set the table. It's not all in Lansing. It might seem like that it is. I've got projects in Eaton Rapids. I've got projects in Mason, St. John's, Charlotte, Elsie, right? And so what we're trying to do is just ensuring we're advocating for top priority projects. You guys have done all of the work. You established your VRA, you're doing the things. This community is very invested in itself, very invested in helping Ken. We recognize that. It is a priority project. My manager knows it's a priority project. It's just been a challenging year. So it's not a no. We want to see this done. I want to see a win for this community. I want to see a win for Ken. It's a great reuse of this building. We know that we need the residents to come and to help be part of the revitalization of this village. So just wanted to confirm, Ken has a right to be frustrated. If I were him, if it were my dollars, I'd be super frustrated too. We're a slow process to begin with, and now it's just slowing down even more, but it's truly due to fiscal constraints. So I'm hoping that we can still get him across the finish line.
And Rachel, can you just, because obviously these meetings are recorded, thanks
Sure.
to David, can you just reiterate to the public that the whole funding thing has nothing to do with the village of Elsie?
100%. It's nothing to do with Village West. This is the money that we get appropriated through the legislature. So if you like to still, make a phone call to your legislature, this is kind of the time, that's your right and your purview to do so. These programs are deeply important. These programs, when they get cut, impact communities like Elsie. So this has nothing to do with you. Again, Ken's got a very active project, and it's a priority for us, and we're still working with him at this time.
Yeah, I want to see it across the finish line.
Well, we appreciate you clearing that up.
We do.
So.
Well, when it's times of uncertainty and the world is challenging all over, right? And just kind of walking into the conversation you were having, everything is being touched and impacted. And it's easy to make assumptions when things are murky and you have to take pause. And so happy to be a part of the conversations. I'm happy to come monthly if that provides you a sense of ease and just give you an update on where we're at. So anything I can do to ease your time. But it it's tough, and we're gonna have to say no to projects that we really like this year. Like, that is the reality of our budget, but we're still advocating for Ken's to be a yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, if
absolutely.
And if anything changes, please feel free to,
Or if there's
Reach out.
anything we could do to help,
yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't wanna say leverage, but leverage the situation to not speed along, but. make it
Or
better.
anything we need to do that we haven't touched on or.
No, I will not, believe me, Devin knows, I will not hesitate to call when we need a resolution, so I don't like to sit and wait, so it's truly just been a mechanism of our funding at this time.
What's a specific funding bucket that needs to be lobbied for? Meaning, like, what can we support?
So, in the so it's the BACR line item is how we get the community revitalization funding through, so our business development funding goes through with that, with community development, and I'm happy to follow up with you.
Okay.
On that
Thank you.
later, absolutely.
Be perfect, so,
Yeah.
we just,
That's good timing.
Yeah.
I like this.
we've had to make some very hard decisions, over the past year and a half, and, you know, when it went out on Facebook, we didn't have anything to do with it, but the Brownsfield, you know, tax abatement, so. We
Right,
just wanted to help them out as much as possible, but when you have people talking about paperwork wasn't turned in and that was on the Village of Elsie, that had nothing to do with the Village of Elsie. So we want to promote growth here. We want, you know, people to enter our community and live here and work here. Speaking of working here, is there any developments on the old Lear plant? Have any?
I was gonna ask the same question, so.
Yeah, so we are in conversations with the Don Walker as well. We still have to establish a developer for that building. But yeah, we've been in contact with Don Walker about prices of the building and whether he's willing to sell or lease it. He's willing to do both, but he is looking for something for the community.
Has he kicked out any numbers as far as?
So I talked to him about a month ago. I can't remember the number without a notebook off the top of my head. But yeah, he has kicked out the number square footage wise for us. I do have it in my notes in my laptop at the back of my desk.
Can you send that to us?
Of course, yeah, definitely.
A little off topic. I want to publicly give you a huge kudos because we've had a lot of other people in here in your position that have not paid attention. They came in here, they give their spiel, and then they jet out the door or they sit there playing on their phone. And numerous times, you have followed up with what the people out here have said and asked questions to see what you can do to better the situations of everything happening. And I personally, on camera, would like to say kudos to you, and you are doing an amazing job, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate it a lot. That's what I came here to do. And so I value everybody and everything. So thank you so much. You don't get thanks very often. I think you guys know that.
Very
Right.
thankless position.
We appreciate you very much.
Okay, any more questions, comments?
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah,
Just
thank
thanks
you.
for
Yeah,
coming all the way out here.
Thank you for
Thank you
taking
for-
the time.
Yeah,
Thank
and clearing that up.
Well, for sure, and thank you again for the work you did to establish the BRA. You should be proud of yourselves, very, very proud of yourselves, so. Setting yourselves up for success.
Now we just gotta move that big white building.
Yeah, keep us posted. I'm happy to come back anytime.
Sure, we appreciate that.
Thank you,
For
Rachel.
sure.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
very
Have a
much.
great night.
You too,
You too.
thank you. Okay. On to president. So only thing I have, is the library. Ann actually came into the office and actually gave us 2 invoices. I kind of looked at them wrong. They actually weren't on top of each other. So back years ago, we've always give $2,500 donation on top of what the contractual services are. We did, and Ann did give us a while back, the mutual agreement between the townships and the village to the library. Basically, the 4,000 is from 24, 25, and 25 and 26. So she did kick it down from the 2,500 to the 2,000 per year for us. So I did have a conversation with Ann, a pretty frank one, that pretty much we don't want to pay, basically. As a board, do about it, and I approached her of not. So she basically has stated that she's more than willing to negotiate with us. She did say that with the back years that we owe and the current, under the contract that we have, she has actually talked to Dave Revore, our attorney, about it, and our financial controller about the contract as well. They don't feel that it is legal, but I feel that as a municipality, we should stand and support the library. I mean, yes, they have a millage, and I understand they do get financial credits. Anne said that for the 2 years that we do owe, she'd be more than willing to take $2,000 total. She did request that if moving forward we do not want to pay moving forward, she would request a new contract. Maybe instead of monetary values, we look at doing just building asset values, water, utilities, stuff like that. That's already included in the contract that we offer. So I lay it at your feet because you guys are ultimately the decision makers. I do agree that the 1,500, in my opinion, when we're in a good financial status, I don't feel 1,500 a year is a lot of money for what they do for not only the public, but what they do for feeding people of our public as well. So
I do agree with that to an extent. Do you remember how much their millage is?
I do not.
I believe it is very close or similar to that of Duplain Township's emergency services millage.
It's a little bit higher.
Yes, it is actually more, I was gonna say that, but I didn't
My
wanna
taxes, I think it
overreach.
was 130. I just paid my taxes.
So I guess my question here is, how does it cost more money to fund a library than it does to fund our portion of the Clinton area and our fire department? While I don't disagree that $1,500 is not a huge monetary number, I would be curious to know where the rest of this is going. They literally are getting more money than the fire department or Clinton area ambulance.
That $1,500 would be nice at the park.
Not disagreeing.
As far as the utilities, are we charging the fire department for water? So, again, why would we charge emergency services and not the library?
And I have to agree, because in my research I've done, is allegedly illegal to give free services. You can't give people free stuff. And that, I mean, to donate money to the library is like American Alliance, told them no. And these are publicly funded already.
They do, I mean, so there's a millage, obviously, for the library. This agreement, whatever you may call it, it was established when?
1989.
1989.
It was revised in the 90s.
2004.
So any citation money that comes into the village of Elsie, library gets 30% of that.
Correct.
So we're paying her,
This says 10%.
it's a 70-30 split. So that's like what it was back in 1989.
Well, this was
How many
revised in
are we talking
2004, it should only be a 10% then, it shouldn't be a 70-30.
Yeah, it's a 70-30 split.
Where did that number come from?
That's a number, that's what it is.
Right.
And that's state, that's all, any police department pays that.
It's state
To a library?
10% or $500.
Whichever is greater.
Well, 10% of 1,500 is 100.
No, not 1,500 of the tickets that we
The
write.
tickets.
Oh,
The tickets
That's
we
for the
write,
tickets.
like police tickets that we
Okay.
write, they get 10% of that or
Or
$500,
$500.
whichever is more
That's
expensive.
probably $500.
Oh yeah. I would say it's $500.
All libraries get 70-30 split. 70% is split with district court in the village of Elsie. We do get a check. It's not every month, but I believe it is quarterly. We were just looking into that. But it's 70-30 split. So she's getting 30% right off the rip of any citation revenue money that comes in.
I mean, I don't necessarily have an issue with the snow removal or the lawn mowing and the leaves. I'm just having, as a member of the fire department and sitting on the Clinton area board and knowing how bad that department is struggling, I am having a very, very hard time knowing that they have a larger millage than Duplain does. And Duplain barely passed their millage this year. I shouldn't say barely, but it was very close. So I have a hard time.
Well, and the library's millage never ends. It's never.
Correct.
It just.
Until somebody wants out, is what it says.
Well, this contract is that way.
Yeah.
This contract.
Right.
For the library.
For the
But not
library.
the village.
Not
Oh, right,
really.
yeah, the millage is,
millage
yes,
is-
that goes for
millage
Yeah,
is
it
always-
just. it
Correct.
always is there
But
for-
our contract here, until somebody wants to step out.
Correct. I can tell you that I know for a fact that Duplain Township is still doing monetary donations.
And I do know for a fact that some of the people on that board are not okay with that
They voted to approve it.
I agree, I understand.
So at this point, Ann is asking for what you guys are requesting. If you want to rewrite the contract, then we rewrite the contract. We spell out to her what we're willing, what we're not willing. We do the monetary, we don't do the monetary. We talked about the monetary for what we back owe her. That was the 4,000 bill she gave us.
I believe we need to pay that.
I believe that, and that she's willing to take 2,000 versus 4. So my opinion is this, and you guys can decide what you guys want collectively. My opinion is that we pay her the 2,000 that she's willing to take, and we rewrite the contract, and we rewrite it without a monetary value.
Agreed.
So,
I agree with that. I mean, I would kind of like to table it as an action step for next month.
Sure.
I would like to look at it some more.
Sure.
But
I would also like to say that, you know, the water and sewer situation, I don't even know if that is legal through Michigan Rural Water.
No, that was,
Or at least not tracking it,
That-
because they had a water line break and flooded this portion of the library. And I crawled under there where they had to shut it off and saw their meter. That meter hasn't worked in a long time.
well,
there is a meter.
that was,
There is a meter, but it's not hooked up.
when we first got into all this, it was that nobody could get free water, which is why with the fire department, we were looking at putting a big meter on there. And nobody's supposed to get free water because they're gonna crack down on us, so.
Right.
That obviously, I feel is
I think
something
that's
we
a
can't do.
compliance issue.
But yeah, that's just nothing we can do about that, unfortunately.
Okay,
Things are
so
not what they were in the past.
I guess at this point, if you guys are willing to pay the back for the 2,000, I would ask for a motion on that.
My problem is, like, I don't think that contract, like, obviously, that contract wasn't legal to begin with. And with all what mains we had breaking and how tight it is, I said, you gotta play fair with everybody. Didn't pay anything for the fire department, and I don't believe that we should pay that $2,000. I really don't.
It's up to you guys. So, if the contract is not legal and they decide to fight it legally, we could be facing that as well. So what are legal fees if let's say the library, if I go to Ann and Ann takes it to her board and they decide that they want to fight the contract until we rewrite the contract, we're gonna have more than 2,000.
We are money ahead to pay that $2,000.
Just my opinion, so.
I mean,
I don't disagree.
we would pay
I'm just
that.
trying to be a mediator for us to, you know, do the best that we can
It is gonna
as a
be,
board.
just overall, it's gonna be cheaper for us to pay the $2,000.
I think we really should pay the 2,000 because it's a community thing. It's not like it's just for someone, you know, it's for everybody that lives in the town. We need to back that.
So is the fire department.
Well, you know, the fire department's the fire department. They charge you when they come out.
No, we don't.
My insurance pays it.
No, they don't. Not if you live in the village, you don't get charged by the fire department.
Well, when I had my fire.
You didn't get charged.
We got charged. I have record, I think I still have the records.
The only way you would
That's
get
20
charged
years
from the
ago
fire
now.
department would be if it was illegal in some way.
And I agree, I agree with all of this, I totally do, but I also agree with Joe, and I agree that with backing the fire department as we can, but, you know, in my opinion, the library, there's a lot of layers there, there's a lot of people that go there, there's a lot they do with the food bank, you know, they work hand in hand with the food bank, they give a lot of food.
No, I agree, and to me, the legality aspect of this contract is not what's in question. I can really, it was an agreement regardless. I don't necessarily agree with the good old boy system, but I come from a handshake and a word, it goes a long way.
For sure.
So to me, that's what this was. So I agree that, you know, if she's willing to take the 2,000, I think we pay the 2,000 and renegotiate this.
Within another year.
We have to move forward with
If we move forward, pay her 2,000, we've already done the snow removal. Dale, I guarantee, will still come down and mow the lawn, you know, he will. So, in my opinion, if we pay the 2,000, it buys us the year to look at a contract negotiation. And that's what she said. She said that she's more than willing to sit down and let's talk about it. So, I agree that we should make it an action step next month. So maybe what we can do is make it an action step and maybe request her to be here.
Sure.
But I do believe we pay the previous years to be current, because that's already a contract.
Yes, it was an agreement that we had, whether the contract year is,
Legal or not.
yeah. it was an
I
agreement
don't
that
wanna
we had.
fight it to find out.
No.
So,
So I'll make a motion to pay the $2,000 to the library.
motion's been made and seconded to pay the library 2,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah, let's do a roll call.
Elsie,
Elsie's.
clerk/treasurer.
Aye.
Nope. You gotta call the name. Everybody turn your name placards around.
Hi, you guys.
Okay.
Jason Freeman,
Aye.
Jordan Ornelas,
Aye.
Todd Carroll,
Aye.
Mark Holt,
Aye.
Corey Webb,
Aye.
Sam Brink,
Aye.
Joe Under.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Most of them anyways, right?
All right, clerk treasurer report with our new clerk treasurer.
You ready for this?
I am ready. Are you ready?
No. All right, so I was sworn in on January 14th, 2026 by Village Manager Destiny Bright. I've been working with Financial Controller Steve Adair and fulfilling my responsibilities as clerk and treasurer. I have started training with BSNA webinars focusing on governmental accounting and utility billing. Destiny has enrolled me in Michigan Municipal Treasurer Association. I look forward to attending their conference in early April this year, and also the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks, who provide various training courses and a great deal of additional resources and materials to benefit my position here in the village. I will also start attending treasury webinars when available as well. This has been my first month that I've processed check runs and monthly reports. I've been enjoying the start of this transition with Steve and Ms. Bryce in upholding my new position as clerk and treasurer. Utility bills should be sent out by the end of this week or even next week with a due date in March. I've also started sending utility shut-off notices. I've continued to schedule water meter change appointments with residents, and I believe we've done a good handful this month. That is all.
Are we on
Welcome
track to be
aboard.
compliant with our water meter the rate we're going?
We're trying.
Didn't we have a deadline?
Yeah, we will not get the last 20% of the grant until all the water meters are installed. So,
We're about 250 or so. Probably more than that, but.
We're over half already.
Need a motion to approve the clerk treasurer's report.
I'll make
a motion to approve.
Dorothy did your second. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Police report.
alrighty, police report. The Elsie Police Department conducted 9 traffic stops and 4 citations this month. Complaints have increased from last month with a total of 55 calls for service. There's a lot of property checks conducted in the village of Elsie this month. Kind of weird. None of them were by me. A total of 140 hours were worked at the Elsie Police Department. Police activity for the month of December consisted of traffic enforcement, motor carrier enforcement, 1 assault, 1 UDAA, 1 welfare check, 2 assists to other agencies, 3 follow-up investigations, and of course, community policing at EE now. The Elsie Police Department has recently signed with Virtual Academy to obtain all required annual CPE hours required by MCOs. The cost of Virtual Academy is $100 per year, and the best part is they enter training right into MCOs with tracking the certifications, which will reduce administrative burden and improve team performance. So right now, how it works, it's kind of a pilot program right now for the first year, but we are required to do so many hours of training on certain subjects that MCOs requires. The issue that occurs with that training is this: when we sign up to conduct that training, that trainer or that agency that puts on that training is required to enter that information into MCOs. And when you do your annual registration and you look and you're like, hey, I paid for 24 hours of CPE training, why aren't they all in our MCOs register? It's because they don't, it's a communication thing. So, Virtual Academy, we pay for it. We can do it whenever we're available to do it, as long as we get it done within the year. And they enter the information right into MCOs. MCOs, you know, they like the Virtual Academy. There's a few other ones. Police One is another one, but of course they're a little bit more expensive. So I think this will be the best bang for our buck. We recently discovered that the Axon contracts may be under Michigan bid. Chris looked into that, and I sent that over to our Axon rep. Our Axon cameras, or our Axon contracts for the dash cams, the body cams, and our tasers, you know, it's a big chunk out of the police department budget, but it's stuff that we have to have. So if we can get that covered, a little bit taken off our contracts with the Michigan bid, my bid, that'll make a big difference. Code and zoning enforcement has continued. I'm currently working on approximately 4 code enforcement violations. I do have a meeting scheduled with a resident that has recently moved into town and would like to discuss his current violations. He's got a whole heck of a lot of them. He's lived in Elsie in the past. He moved back to Elsie, and I want a positive interaction with him, but he just has to understand what the ordinances are and what he can and cannot do. So we will be meeting on Friday for that. Also, regarding our ordinance committee, we do need to reschedule that. And regarding the building at 119 East Main Street, here are all of the violation letters that have been sent to that individual since 2022. Here's the certified receipts for the certified letters that have been sent to him. It's not working. He's not doing anything with the building. The business owners around that building, they complain. They're sick of it. There's raccoons living in the building. We have to do something about this building.
Which building is that?
119,
That's the bar.
yeah, the bar.
Okay.
So the issue with that is we need the money to fight this in court, okay? This guy obviously knows what he can and cannot do. He knows how to play the system. And our ordinance is not strong enough to take this to court. That's why these letters have been sent to him since 2022 and nothing's being done. In order to do that, we need money in our ordinance budget for blight stuff. And I've been working with Steve Adair, and I told him that that is something that we need to try to get to increase so we are able to tackle some of these chores, blight properties that have been ignored for years. I can name about 3 on Main Street. So in order to do that, we have to have the proper documentation that allows us to do what we need to do here in the village of Elsie. Right now, our hands are tied to a certain extent. We don't, and we need to do that. So.
Well, and the ordinance side of it, honestly, financially, right now, there's nothing we can do anyways. So as far as rescheduling, I think we should, table a reschedule until after the next budget is passed, in my opinion. So that way then she can work close with Steve, Kelsey can work with them, and we can try to see what we can come up with as far as what we can change.
Explore some existing ordinance in neighboring wherevers, like we used to steal ordinances from other people.
Already have.
Say borrow.
Borrow. Don't say steal. You know that, you work for.
Mirror, we're gonna mirror.
Clone.
There you go. I like that.
An ordinance is not worth a dang if it has no teeth. If we're gonna lose in court,
Well, if
it's
there's
not
nothing to
worth
hold it
writing
to,
the
there's
violation.
nothing, yeah.
So I think that's definitely one, a dangerous building that needs to be an ordinance written.
Well, 101, 103 are on their way to being
Yes,
trouble.
there's a lot of them, so.
Mhm.
I was independent as well, yeah, I know those two.
All right,
But I'm not.
Time together.
They used to be on the road.
that's my police department report. As always, looking for another great month here in the village of Elsie. Standing tall.
I'll make a motion to approve the police department, or the police report.
I'll say.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
What is a property check, just out of curiosity?
Really?
Yeah,
Really? Just poke.
I don't even know what it is. What's it mean?
It means that a police officer goes down to the park and they put out on the MDC that they're doing a property check at the park, and they sit there and they observe and then they leave.
Oh, it's not like you're checking on somebody at home.
No.
Wellness.
Just to roll through, drive by, beep beep, toot toot, wave wave.
I don't believe you
Service
even
animals.
have to do
They check
that.
that.
You can just stop and say, yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know what it meant.
Meet up with someone.
Break
Okay, moving on. On to the manager's report.
It's next sheet around.
It sure has been a busy month here in Elsie. No property checks. On January 26, 2026, Chris and I met with FB Engineering for our project kickoff meeting regarding DWSRF. I've also included the agenda in this meeting in your packets for your review. I've also started the process of speaking with state legislation regarding appropriation spending for their support. County Commissioner Bickens has also assisted with this, as well as Matt Bylett from FB Engineering. On January 28th, I met with Blake Newman from MEDC and Devin Pingle from LEAP to discuss the next steps regarding the RRC process. Again, this is a program that provides Michigan communities with the opportunity to be vibrant and competitive and ready for development. Identifying assets and opportunities and focusing on limited resources, certified villages, cities, and townships attract and retain businesses and have a streamlined to develop approval process. Now, with this RRC process, this consists of a lot of online training modules. Basically, what is the village of Elsie? What do they want to accomplish here? Do we want to develop our downtown area? Do we want to bring more parks in the village? They also ask for a master plan. The master plan, I don't believe we've ever had a master plan, and that's pretty embarrassing. However, we need a master plan, kind of like ordinances and zoning ordinances and permits. You have to have that. It's like your Bible. What you want to see in the future of the village of Elsie. Strategic plan, same thing. We need that. According to Steve Adair, they're about $30,000. So we will not be completing that right now. That's years down the road. But we can start with these online training modules. We can also apply for grants, which Devin and Blake Newman have pointed me in the right direction for those grants in order to perhaps provide funding for the master plan.
One thing, not to try to jump into the weeds here, but as far as what we'd like to see for the community, obviously we all want to see the village of Elsie spruce up, so to say, want to clean it up. One thing that was brought up not too long ago, and I don't assume that it would be in correlation with this, is like the light poles that we talked about. Where we
Yes.
put the flags and stuff on there. Like that, to me, I would really like to see that happen.
Me too.
That makes a community look so much nicer. Just little things like that. Painting the buildings downtown, even if they're falling apart on the inside. Let's make them look nice. You know, things like that.
Let's fix up the sidewalks with some of that Act 51 money.
There we go.
The FDCVT grants have been submitted for review, and we are looking forward to the outcome that is expected to be late April, early May 2026. I also met with Todd Weaver of MML Risk Management. This is an annual inspection that is conducted every year regarding the police department and the Department of Public Works. They inspect our offices and review our policies and procedures and provide insights or changes that should or should not be made. I am happy to announce that despite what some may say, we have passed with flying colors and will continue to provide professional services here in the village. MML annual renewal for FY27 is approaching, and I have a meeting with our representative, Elmer Hilt, on Thursday, February 12th, 2026, where we will be updating our coverage for village property and contents. We have to obviously add the Bobcat. We found out that the backhoe was never added on to our MML policy. So get ready, because I'm assuming that number is probably gonna go up. Diane Jones, she was great, but she retired. MML sent me a bill for our MML renewal, and I said, wait a minute, nobody's actually met with us and sat down, like, we have changes that we need to make. So Elmer said, I will be right there, and that's why the meeting is this Thursday. So we will have to pay that before April 1.
Is that just a courtesy she was doing, or?
She catered to her clients, and I expect that with Elmer, and Elmer's good, he'll do the same thing, so. And it's nice, because when you sit there and talk to them, like, you know, they have like the park, for instance. Those pavilions haven't been appraised for a very long time. That's stuff that needs to be updated, like our water tower, the appraisal of the water tower, you know, the pumps, the lift stations, all that has an appraisal date. Well, as everybody knows, things, you know,
Prices
increase in price. So if the appraisal isn't, you know, what it should be, that needs to be changed. So that's why they usually come and they sit down. Last year, Diane Jones sat down with Chris and I, and we went through the whole policy. So we'll do the same this year as well. Steve Adair and I have been working through the budget predictions along with DEP reporting. Chris and I have been working through budget capital plan items and operating budgets needed for FY 2027. Steve and I will be crunching numbers this Friday, February 13th, 2026. We will have our first budget committee meeting held at Village Hall as placed on the agenda as an action step to schedule with the committee, which is our budget committee at the end of February. I'd like to do that. But just, however, being mindful that because we are in this DEP still, we are not able to go crazy with this budget. The money's not there. So our fiscal year 2027 is not going to change that much from the fiscal year 2026 because of this DEP. So there's certain budgets that we can change and tweak and kind of play with a little bit as far as numbers go, but a lot of our budget, the meat and potatoes, we're not allowed to change.
Well, and to add to that, even past the DEP, we want to try to be mildly stingy for years to come.
Yes.
So we can get to a point where we can do some of these major projects, because let's be honest, we are well past needing to have some of these projects done. So if we could be stingy like
60 years of neglect, and it's showing.
Yeah. So being hard on this budget is very
For sure.
crucial.
Well, and
anyways
I
to-
think that, you know, the Act 51 money in itself shows, you know, we were stingy with it last year, but now this year, let's see what we can do with some good projects.
Yeah, and I'm not saying let's go blow all the money, but let's get our community built back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, I brought it up in this manager's report. right now, we're running with an 8% fund balance. We're supposed to be at a 20, that's average, we're at 8, okay? It takes $582,000 on the low end of expenses to run the village of Elsie. And people don't realize that. How the heck does the village of Elsie spend that kind of money? Well, when you add everything up, folks, it's there. We need to try to get to that 20%, which means that from, like right now, what we do is from April to July, we're basically borrowing money from other funds, okay? Because we don't get any revenue until July, which is tax season. So once July comes, then all of that money has to last us until April. And that's very hard. And that's, one of the many reasons that got us into this problem. So I really would love to restore what Elsie once was. And by doing that, you can't spend all the tax money that you get in July and go crazy with it like it's a shopping spree.
August.
So it'd be nice to actually have a cushion. So
That's exactly what we need.
we can only, if we're only spending a little bit of that tax money, then we have a cushion and that just keeps building. And that's what we need. Rural Water has anticipated completion of the rate study regarding utilities. He has clear data now regarding water consumption, and we will be using the study for FY27 budget purposes. He will also be here on Thursday, February 12th, 2026 to discuss his findings. Kelsey works with him every time he's here. He's been here twice a week for the last 3 months.
That's great.
Yeah. So, in the beginning of this reliability study, he didn't have adequate numbers because they were all over the place. And he was here, what day was it? They all run together, Monday or Tuesday?
Monday.
And he basically said, wow, Destiny, there's people using a lot more consumption that was ever recorded. Now I understand why that fund was so low. You guys really did lose all that money. Yep, we sure did. And it was because the data wasn't accurate. Federal e-filings have been uploaded and approved for all of the 1099s. Closeout of ARPA funding has also been reported and completed. As previously indicated, the annual reported is needed annually until 2027, even if a municipality has already spent the funds, which the village has spent since December of 2024. If you guys recall, that was the resolution that we completed, passed when Steve Adair first got here. Kelsey has been working with Steve Adair on her treasurer roles. She's been learning a lot. I think she's the person for the job, and she learns quickly, and she realizes that being the clerk / treasurer is a big responsibility. So I think we're on the right path to success. That's all I have. You're welcome.
I'll make a motion to approve the manager's report.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the manager's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. I promise I'm not the DPW supervisor.
I don't have a report.
Well, he's been awful busy,
Been taking a whole little bit.
okay? He came into my office today about, what was it, 6:15, and he had been working all day on the water main break on North Oven. It was so bad that we actually thought we were gonna have to send out notices stating we were gonna have to shut all the water off in Elsie. So, thankfully, it was just a band. It wasn't what he thought it was. The issue with North Ovid Street is there's a valve that's been broke on Oak Street for several years, but we found out today that there's another valve that's broke on Pine Street. So,
Perfect.
again, this is what happens when we ignore the infrastructure that's underneath the ground. It's hard to keep up with the things we've been dealing with the water main breaks. This is the 4th one. And according to our financial controller, the bottom line is this: our new budget and what we can do with it, basically all comes down to how many water breaks are we gonna have? And when you don't have a backhoe to dig, you do have to subcontract that out. So, again, my DPW guys are not lazy. They don't have a bulldozer or a backhoe to dig to get to the water main break. That's the problem. That brings me to my second request of the night. We tried everything to fix the backhoe. Right now, we're just throwing money into it. We just keep throwing money that we don't have into the backhoe. We do have a few people that are interested in buying it. Those people will probably have to put about $10,000 to $15,000 into it to make it worth it. I say we get rid of it. Get rid of it and start over. One of the FDCVT grants was for a mini excavator. When GA Hunt comes and contracts to do the water main repairs, that's what they use, is the mini excavator. That's all we need. So,
That is, I believe that was worked into this coming year's budget, correct?
what?
A mini excavator? I
No.
believe we were supposed to get the front end loader this year, and then next year we were supposed to get the mini excavator.
The capital plans have kind of been tweaked because of our financial situation. But I'm praying to the good Lord above that we do get that grant for the mini excavator. So it would help us. But if we can recoup a little bit of money from this backhoe and sell it, then we can stick that into something else.
I absolutely agree. I
Just put it in.
said we should have got rid of that thing a long time ago before it started nickel and diming us. But we didn't have a choice but to try to ride it out because we didn't have anything to use.
Did we ever sell the canned dump truck?
Can't get it running.
Still doesn't run.
That's on the list.
So should we take some bids on that?
We need to probably take bids on it. Yeah, so she just needs authorization from you guys to
I
go
make
ahead
a
and.
motion to start taking some bids on that thing and get it out of here.
Support.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Highest bidder gets it.
Also, as far as the, we have not received the pump, that was paid for the replacement that we turned into insurance. I believe that it was gonna take about 18 weeks to come in, so the boys have gone down there to that lift station every day to pump out the water,
Including Chris's wedding day.
including Chris's wedding day.
Every day.
So, that's an issue. So, with that being said, one of the capital, plans for the DPW budget is one of the pumps that needs to be rebuilt. We need to rebuild it so we can put it on the shelf and have one. So, it's always there and we can use it when we need to.
Are pumps all the same?
That was my
No.
question.
They're not, because those two on that end of town
Different.
are different than these two.
Yeah.
And
That's
we have
about-
another one at the lagoon?
I think we have a backup for these two, but not that one.
Okay.
And we're waiting on that one so that we don't have to pump it every day.
No,
And there's two pumps at both locations, correct?
Yes.
this
but
one down here that's getting replaced, is that getting rebuilt or replaced?
One's getting replaced. Isn't that one for insurance?
Yes, I believe both of them.
Now-
Don't quote me, I'm not sure. If both of them are getting replaced or not, I believe both.
If they're getting replaced, why wouldn't we replace them with what's down there, so then we could,
Can't.
just the logistics of it? or-
I don't think they.
It's the plumbing and the apparatus is
Okay,
different.
don't match. But I think that the ultimate plan is to pull one of the two and send it out to somebody that Sam might know to get rebuilt. So then we have a backup for that one, like we have a backup for that one.
Because we did that years ago, was we had that one rebuilt.
Yep, when that one broke and goes down.
Yeah.
Now it's this turn. So,
Makes sense. So when that broke and we put the replacement on, or the rebuilt one, did we get
A
another
new-
rebuilt? We got it, okay.
Yeah, we rebuilt the
yeah,
previous.
we have a backup for there.
So we
but not
still
for
have
here.
backup,
Mhm.
and the plan is to always have backup.
Correct. And then
Good. That's a good
if
plan.
one breaks, the backup goes in, that one gets sent out, gets fixed.
Correct.
Until they can't be. And then 20 grand for a new one. So
We rebuilt that one for like $5 or $6 grand, didn't we?
I don't think it was that much.
You can build them cheap
Yeah, you can get it for, I think it was under 2 grand.
fractions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy.
But there's only so much rebuilding you can do with a housing. So, and I might be wrong, I don't know.
You can, as long as the housing is cracked, you can just rebuild the whole thing.
Do we have a rebuildable core?
We will when the new one comes.
Another thing that came up, on Monday, Chris advised that there's a guy that lives on East Main Street and his well ran dry. And our ordinance states, and the health department, this is a requirement, instead of digging a new well, putting in a new well, if there's so many feet from a water supply, then we have to allow them to attach to our water supply. They were doing that this morning, and then we had our water main break on North Ovid, so it was a double whammy. So that was also done by GA Hunt. The homeowner had to pay the majority of it, but we did have to pay for the tap in, for them to tap into the water main, so.
And there's no way around that.
No.
That's legality situation, so. But again, I think, going over the numbers that she was talking about, I think it was, a no-brainer to not even get it done. And then while GA Hunt's here, then, not good timing, but
Good time.
okay.
I think that's all I can cover with the DPW report, but he will have more for you next month.
I'll make a motion to approve the DPW report.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded
We're looking at getting.
to support the DPW report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action steps.
I'll motion to approve the FY26 and FY28 financial audit contracts with AHM.
Support.
Motion's been made and seconded to support the audits as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We should probably do a roll call on that one, I would think.
Yeah.
Please.
Elsie, you're up.
Yes.
Good practice.
Dorothy Ornelas,
Aye.
Jason Freeman,
Aye.
Todd Carroll, Mark Hop,
Aye.
Corey Wet.
Aye.
Sam Brink,
Aye.
Joe Undersett.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Aye.
Need a recommended budget amendments from the financial controller in the packet.
That was a hell of a read.
Right.
I'll motion to do budget amendments 1 through 8 as recommended by Steve Adair.
Support that.
Motion's been made and seconded to amend budgets 1 through 8. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call vote on this one as well, please.
Jason Freeman,
Aye.
Dorothy Ornelas,
Aye.
Todd Carroll,
Aye.
Mark Hop,
Aye.
Corey Wet,
Aye.
Sam Frink,
Aye.
Joe Undersett.
Aye.
Motion passed. Need to set an initial budget committee meeting for the end of February. Dorothy, Mark, and Joe.
What day do you want it? Not on Friday. That's Maple Rapids Day.
Wasn't it on Thursday?
No. Friday. How about Wednesday or Tuesday or what day is best? You. Probably Tuesday or Thursday? No, Wednesday or Thursday, yeah, Wednesday or Thursday, probably best.
So that would leave us with either 18th, the week of the 16th is going to be hard for me. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I'd like to kick to the 25th or the 26th.
Wednesday would probably work for me best.
That'd be the 25th. And then what time?
What time do you want?
The later the better.
Yeah,
I
the
just
later.
started a new schedule.
Yeah,
So
6, 7 o'clock?
6.
What do you think, Joe?
9.
I'm warned.
You're asking the retired guy?
Do you need to check your schedule?
Are you asking the retired guy down here what time works best for him? Really?
Yes.
Make sure it doesn't interfere with nap.
Is that AM or is that?
Matlock comes on at 6:30.
6 o'clock's fine,
6 o'clock work, Mark?
I think so.
Okay,
the 26th, right?
No, the 25th.
25th,
Oh, Wednesday.
Wednesday, yep. Dorothy requested Wednesdays work better for her.
Yep.
Good.
At 6, you said?
So mishmash.
Get pissy when I don't get it.
Okay, moving on. Public comment? Any public comment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried.